my name is Carly, my pronouns are they, them, and this is my writing vlog where I'm documenting writing a first draft from the beginning to the end in longhand and running my indie imprint in the meantime, as well as having a 9 to 5. So lots of projects. I'm currently in chapter 22 of my first draft, which is called Dragon Watch for the moment. And I'm also making like passes through other manuscripts. At the moment, I have one at copy editing and one out for beta reading. So I'm basically taking care of all the other bits that need to happen in the meantime. The duology that I'm prepping at the moment, the first volume has been copy edited. The next one I've just completed a pass through, and these are for like spring 26, spring 27. I want to divide those two books by a year. Initially, I thought I'd publish them both in one, but then realized that actually doesn't give them the space to breathe, and I want these to be a duology where I put in a bit more marketing time and take a few more risks with marketing as well. Maybe spend a bit more money on it. Up until now, I've been a bit tight-fisted with, like, I didn't run any ads, for example. But I think the upcoming duology, it's called the Sun and Flame duology, is a bit more, it's more young adult adjacent. I think it's a bit more, um, I don't know, accessible for people who come from the young adult space and want to read something more interesting than like the latest carbon copy of insert the big hit here. So yeah, I want to be a bit more concentrated on these two books. They have beautiful covers that I'm going to reveal in a while. And I just want to give this series my all, basically, with then having other books as sort of backlist already. I don't know whether that's going to work out. That's just what I'm thinking at the moment. I might even go as far as to at least put the first one on NetGalley, which is hugely expensive if you're an indie author. And yeah, let's see if that works out. I mean, it needs to be approved and everything anyway, but at the moment I'm thinking about giving that one a try. And yeah, just basically blasting it out to the world. I've been marketing is definitely, as many indie authors find, marketing is a whole can of worms, and I think I'm still feeling a bit twitchy about tooting my own horn, but I think I'm getting a bit better at it, and I think that's also then good that I have a bit of time to practice and then have the duology that I'm really, really passionate about getting out there. Just, I already have my foot in the water, so to say. Okay, that's sort of these two, like first draft, and then also the duology that I'm working on. What else? I'm usually going swimming on Fridays, but today I have my library book club, for which, incidentally, I did not read the book. No, that's not true. It's because of the 250th Jane Austen anniversary. We're doing a Jane Austen installment of the book club, and it's Pride and Prejudice, and I've read Pride and Prejudice a million times, so I'm not going to reread it. I bringing, like, we're also doing sort of retellings of Pride and Prejudice, and the one that I want to bring today, that I read a while ago, is Most Ardently, which is a reimagining of Pride and Prejudice with the caveat that Lizzie is a trans boy called Oliver. And I found this approach really, really interesting, and also how the story was changed to make it possible to take in sort of the London queer scene of the time. So I'm going to bring this to book club tonight and just say what I liked about it. Um, I'm also actually reading as my um, Kindle book. I'm reading The Other Bennet Sister, which is all about Mary Bennet, and it's quite a big book, but I'm liking it so far, apart from the passages that are basically lifted from Pride and Prejudice, and sometimes I'm thinking we don't need to have this again. But also, I'm aware that I've read Pride and Prejudice just so many times that I'm, yeah, at the brink of getting bored with it, let's say. Um, and my favorite Jane Austen books are actually Northanger Abbey, which it might be a bit of a surprise, and Persuasion, which might be not. If you know your Jane Austen books, you're sort of, I think there's a certain type that goes for Persuasion. You might be a bit older, let's say. Um, so yeah, that's happening today, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also starting to prepare for an event that happens next weekend, which is a big bank holiday event. And as you can see behind me, I've recently dyed some fiber that I'm going to take with me. And I've also started to spin up the blue and green bits to get back into spinning when it was this hot. I haven't done a lot, and I'm doing books, but I'm also doing yarn stuff. So my imprint, the name, I don't think I've explained this actually. The name Wollschweber is the common name for a little insect that's called bee fly in English, but the German name means something like woolly hoverer. And it's a bit more ethereal in the German. Hovering is a bit mechanic, I always find. But yeah, it's a little fluffy insect that's a bit like a cuckoo for bees. So it's cute, but it's not necessarily nice. And I always wanted, like, for years and years and years, this was in the back of my mind for doing, if I ever do something craft related, to use this name. And because the yarn and stuff came before the books, at least before the publishing of the books, um, I used this one to start like a little craft business, very, very small. Um, and because it's now like two branches of the same enterprise, this is why, like, this is how the name of the imprint came about. That's just a bit of backstory, and yeah, explain the logo as well, because that's the little insect in question. So yeah, um, this is sort of the start of another maybe shorter vlog, like the weekend vlog. And I'm at the moment, because of I being away in Scotland and sort of missing a bit of filming, I might change to like one video a week. I am not quite sure at the moment. I'm trying to do two, which is why I'm splitting up the week a bit to document my process and my progress. That's all still sort of being worked out. But apart from that, I'm looking forward to this weekend. Yeah, I have to put a bit of stuff in the car ready. I've started doing that. And yeah, just see how far I come. and start the pass through the first volume of the Sun and Flame duology. See you in a bit. It's Saturday, noonish, a bit later, and I've managed to get through my the pass in one day. You see, so quite a few things I want to tweak. But a really nice thing happened is that sometimes when you start working on something and you get sucked into it and you sort of even you have read the story 1,000 times, but you still get transported into it. And I think something like this happened yesterday, but not just that I really wanted to um, finish it in one go, um, but that I actually enjoyed reading it. And I think my approach of doing the second volume first, then jumping back into the first, has been quite beneficial because I noticed some consistency things that I'm addressing now. And also, I made a decision to change something while I was proofreading the first one, where I thought that actually solves a problem that I had before. And some of those tabs are basically like where I have to tweak some things to make this new decision make sense. So yeah, it's it was a pretty intense day yesterday. Um, I don't think I wrote yesterday. I was literally just going through this one. I mean, it has sort of 360 pages. Um, it's quite substantial. But yeah, so that was a really nice experience. And then I went to my book club, which was also really nice. We discussed books that we'd read for the Jane Austen anniversary. And usually the small library that is closest to my home, I don't really find fantasy stuff there. I usually pick up like nature writing, nonfiction, but I actually managed to get away with 4 fantasy/horror um, titles that sort of do a little library haul. The first one is Heavenly Bodies, which is supposed to be a romantasy. I'm still looking for a romantasy title that works for me. I think the one that came closest was Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. That I loved everything about that book. And I think, yeah, from what I can see here is that it doesn't look to be very purpley in its prose, which might be a good thing for a romantasy. So otherwise, I don't have no idea about it. One of the things that I love with library books is just picking them up because you like the cover, you like some of the vibes. I don't know, because there's no financial risk about it. I think I'm a pretty adventurous reader when it comes to library books. So yeah, never heard of it before. It's a debut fantasy. Let's give it a try. Then The Floating World by Axio. And I actually heard about this one before and had filed it away for um yeah, in case this book came ever up for on offer or something. So I was beyond thrilled that I found this one. Um then once was Willem, which I only recently saw, I think, a post on Instagram. They're sort of dark medieval horror adjacent fantasy. And what I love about all of these, they're not too chunky, so I really hope that I can race through them once I'm finished with my current read. And the last one, I've been looking for this one quite a few times, is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Anders Joseph White. And I've heard quite a bit about this book, um, and that it has like a trans main character, and it's of horror as well, and Victorian. And ever since then, I was also looking for this one. So, what an amazing haul from my little local library. So, yesterday was a success across the board. The only thing that I didn't do yesterday was swim, which was a bit of a, yeah, I feel looks of my fizzing a bit. So I still want to. Um, which happens when habits get disrupted. So apart from that, I'm doing what I set out to do. I'm defrosting my fridge, which is one of the most horrific things. I'm really trying to do it like every other month or so because I only have one of those tiny um compartments at the top, and they're always filling up so fast. So yeah, that's one of the like least favorite things to do. And I've also like have my first single yarn cake for the fiber that I dyed recently. At the moment, I'm debating whether I am going to apply this back on its own or mix it with something else. I have some grey silk, which would make an amazing yarn when mixed with this one. Though because the grey silk is drop spindled, I don't have that much ready for it yet. So I'm debating whether I will just use this as it is and keep the grey stuff for later. I've soaked the little drop spindle skeins that I showed you before. I might dye them later today. The nice thing, because they don't have to be, so I'm not going to space dye them. So space dyeing basically like drop colors onto them and then steam them, but I can go free floating in a dye bath. So it's not going to be as complicated as what I usually do. Um, Apart from that, I also went to the coffee shop this morning and wrote half a chapter. I'm now in chapter 22. And I think because we are again in a bit of a transitional, travel-y place, it didn't it didn't take me away. Um, Also because I'm still figuring out the whole, ooh, do I want like another person coming into the relationship or not? Yeah, it's difficult. So at the moment I'm dithering again, but it feels quite amazing to be quite close to the end of the notebook. Because yeah, after this chapter's there, only three more, and then this notebook's finished. So I'm still also debating which kind of notebook to use after this one is done. Um, and generally just doing a bit of tidying up, because there comes a point where sort of it comes onto me all at once. So, oh my God, I need to get my environment into a better state. And it tends to be like, it's okay, 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 okay. And I said, like, this does not work. um, and yeah, so the fridge thing is not the only thing that I'm going to do this weekend. Um, in that vein, I'm going to also like compile the yarn that I'm going to take with me next week, and I still need to weigh some up and label some. I have like really cute pink labels for them. So that's probably something I'm going to do this weekend as well. And tomorrow I finally need to do some account stuff, which is so if I have a list on my phone where I'm saying, oh, do need to log this invoice, this invoice, this invoice. And usually I don't let it accumulate this far, but I think I have sort of quite a few invoices that I need to log now. I'm not looking forward to that. So I might just declare tomorrow it's going to be an admin day. Don't know if I'm going to write more than a few pages or if I'm writing at all. Um, I also need to write the author notes slash acknowledgements for this one because I knew that I had so much time um, before finishing the setup and everything. I didn't do that yet because otherwise everything has changed. It's so strange. I recently wrote the author note for the for the sixth volume of Slow Moon, and the world political situation since I finished the first draft or the main work on that, since it's been copy edited, and since I've actually typeset it, and what's going on nowadays, it's just so far apart from what I thought where we would be. So like an author note is always a bit of usually the place where I'm getting quite vulnerable with like expectations and hopes and fears. So yeah, that's also something I will have to conquer. The acknowledgements, usually because in the last 2 years I've published quite a few books, they pretty much the same across all of them because they're all like they I mean, of course there will be new people who did other stuff, new stuff on various books, um but because Slow Moon was like one big thing more than lots of little pieces, they didn't um differ so much from each other. So yeah, I have to um, do this last section. But I accounted for this when I did the typesetting and the cover templates, because this time around the designer did also the typography for the cover. Um, yeah, that's another bit. Oh, it's quite heavy. Um, what I'm thinking of is because for this one, I clearly had it printed as a manuscript, but it's actually much more affordable to order a proof copy. So I might have noticed measured that before. So yeah, I think for the next one, because it's probably at least 100 pages, if not 150 pages longer, I would probably go that route. Maybe do like I don't know if I'm going to do the final cover on it. Probably yes, but yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. I think also what's really fun to see is that my style keeps evolving and changing, and what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to smooth out has changed as well. Which is why I'm giving myself such a big distance of time between things, because exactly for that, because I'm learning every project that I'm writing, I'm learning. So yeah, it's just going to be evolving, and having the distance, I think, makes me just more sure of hand when I'm sort of not don't need that. I mean, with this one, I mean, of course, this has already been typeset, so I'm also aware of, I can't, basically, I can't get rid of half a chapter or something. Otherwise, the whole layout goes into shambles. Um, but yeah, it's you. I think you start, especially if you're doing the typesetting yourself, you start to edit and proofread also with an eye to what can be done at the stage the book is at. And there are definitely limits to it. I mean, because I'm doing it myself, it would not make it more expensive if I say, okay, no, I need to get rid of this half chapter. There's no way around it. It just needs to, okay, it just means I have to invest so much more time into fixing the layout. Um, but I want to have this be a sustainable practice. So this is obviously what I'm looking at as well. And while publishing 2 books a year instead of however many is, for me, is sort of a step back. I think that's the reason why I want to do it, not just because of limitations, but also to give myself more breathing space and to not constantly have the deadlines. Um, so many deadlines around my head. Have to take this into account, this into account, this into account. Also have some more time for arc reading. So I'm going to put everything the sun touches up for arc reading, not too not too far off the distant future. I want to. I think I'm going to let this run a couple of campaigns, but I'm on Booksprout. Um, but in case you would like to arc read one of my titles, contact me. Um, I also have, I never mentioned this, I also have a link to my newsletter in the description of every video. And if you sign up, you get the first volume of the Slow Moon series, the ebook edition, for free as sort of a gift for subscribing. So if that sounds interesting to you, such to give my writing a try to see, so is this to your taste? Is there something that you want to read more of? This is a pretty risk-free um, undertaking. And yeah, and I'm always looking for art readers as well. As I said, this is sort of when in art are not in love meets Little Thieves. I think Little Thieves is by Margaret Owen is one of my favorite sort of YA fantasy series slash the first volume as at least in recent years, and there are some like motifs that are pretty similar to this one. It's totally its own thing, but I think if you liked Little Thieves, if you liked When and Art Are Not in Love, then this might be something for you. So yeah, um, I'm going to watch my Freezer defrost. Um, and yeah, maybe try and get ahead with reading my current books so I can make a start on these amazing library books. See you in a bit. It's Sunday afternoon, and I think it's probably the last really warm day. The sun is quite bright, as you can see. And I'm trying to sort of not be in the sun so much, but I don't know if I can help it. We're just going to have to roll with that. Um, I had a really good morning. I think because, as often happens, I lay in bed this morning and stuff was happening in my head. And I was thinking, actually, I don't want to do a full admin morning. I want to write. And that's a really lovely feeling to have. Doesn't always happen that you sort of at your rearing to go, but I think I might have reached this particular point again where there's one particular scene that I'm really looking forward to writing, and that is driving me forward. So what I actually did was I this morning I rapidly did all the admin stuff before the coffee shop opened and then didn't take my laptop with me. I haven't typed for so long. I need to get back into typing, but today I thought, no, 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 no. It's a much better day to write until you sort of get to the point where you think, actually, I would want to continue, but I'm keeping it. And I basically chopped myself off right where it's going into the scene that I was looking forward to. So it gives me a really good motivation for tomorrow to sit down in my lunch break and write. That's, I mentioned that before. One of my favorite writing tips is to cut yourself off, leaving wanting more, because then you get this inner urge, you keep it going. I find it works really well for me. Really interesting. This morning, I also watched a video about from a creator who gives writing advice. I very deliberately don't say that I offer so much as the, you need to do this, you need to do this. I'm doing, you need to fuck around and find out. Um, but she was talking about the importance of flying by the seat of your pants, but not looking at it as a draft. And I think it got me thinking because she then going to link it below. I should be able to find it again. She then talked about the importance of structure and engaging that side of your brain to work with, not against, the free flowing, make like brainstorming side of your brain. And I think one of the reasons why I never really liked the word pantser, so a writer who flies by the seat of their pants, in opposition to plotter, someone who outlines every single detail, is because I found a way that works for me that is a mixture of those two. Because when I'm giving myself 10 pages per chapter, that is quite a rigorous framework. So I have 10 pages, I can let my imagination loose in. And then, as I showed you before, when I'm at the end of a chapter and it's coming up on something of a break in the story, I write a very small outline of what I want to happen in the next chapters. So there is a give and take of discovery writing and actually plotting it out, thinking about the structure. There is. And some of the projects that I've recently written have had like a more, even more for structure thing in place. why I said, oh, I want them to basically go island hopping, and on every island they meet a specific variation on a theme, on one theme. So there was quite a firm structure in place within I could then just run. Um, and I find exactly that if I plot it too much, I don't want to write it anymore because it has sucked all of the enjoyment of discovery out of it. So I'm definitely a mishmash um, of a writer. And I think what I've been guilty of was stressing the approach of like the discovery, gardener, whatever you want to call it, this approach. While actually a lot of the other stuff, the structural, the plotting is happening, but it's happening in the back. You can't see it as much, let's say. Um, because while I'm writing, I'm keeping up. This is why I have the little, so all the way over there, the little booklet. So I have my notebook and I have a little booklet which serves as a companion thing where I can then jot like ideas that come while I'm at it. And then also I will, I used like sort of post-it notes for a while that I would just jot some things, oh, in the next chapter, this will happen, and just place it in the notebook. At the moment, what I'm doing is write the ideas whenever a chapter ends. So I'm now in chapter 23. Um, whenever a chapter ends, I then will write a few on the last bit of the page. I will then write what do I want to happen in the next chapter. And I do that before I close the book because that, again, gives me something to start off with the next time. So I'm never staring at this horrible blank page. So I always have then the chapter opening page, and next to it is already like a little plan what's supposed to happen. That's how I do it. And it might work for you. You might say, no, 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 that would stifle me. That would, or that's not enough. I need to have every scene basically written out in a few um, bullet points so I can go through and then I can. I mean, it makes sense from a standpoint where you say, I don't want to write it chronologically. If I want to write, like dip in and out and write what I'm most interested in, um, then that might serve you very well. Or also, yeah, just to make sure you have all your points covered. But I think I would have a tendency to write everything I'm excited about first and leave the duds for later. I mean, ideally, you wouldn't have any duds in your manuscript, but there's always a scene where you're not excited about it. That sort of is necessary for them to be somewhere. Um, and I think I know myself enough to like I don't think that will work for me. The same way as if I can surprise myself, I'm not interested anymore. Yeah, it. I love to. So the reason why I'm not giving writing advice as such, just saying this is how I do it, but I'm still consuming lots of these videos is because I'm then getting not necessarily to basically then do as they say, but to think about why am I doing what I'm doing. I think that's the best explanation for like, my what I'm doing or not. Yeah, so that was a really nice end to the weekend where I was like, yeah, that's sort of me done now. I've just, oh, I managed to damage my fridge lights. I had to replace that just now, which was awfully fiddly, but I managed to get it done. Um, Also, a friend gave me a kombucha culture that has been like on the shelf for a while, in the fridge. Um, so yeah, I've just started this off and sent her a little message. Can you send me the instructions again? I forgot like, how often to feed, how often to repot. I did ginger beer a few times, and the problem with ginger beer is that it gets awfully alcoholic pretty fast, and you have so much coming, you just can't drink it all. Because I'm always driving, I need something that isn't going overboard so quickly. So she gave me some kombucha to taste, and I thought it was lovely. So now I've basically see if I can do my own thing. If you hadn't realized by now, sort of cooking and food is one of my big things. Endlessly fascinating. I think that's how most of my family, they're all chemists or doctors of chemistry, and this is how this side of my family heritage makes itself known. So my brother, my father, my mother, they all have something to do with chemistry, and they're all really passionate about cooking as well, because it's all about recipes, it's all about experimenting, about versions, about tweaking the recipes. And I have a bit of that as well. I also have the DIY bug. When I was working on my thesis, and I think slowly um, descending into madness, I started to do my own cheese with some catastrophic results. But I, at the end of it, I made some really nice ricotta. But my whole family is sort of, oh yes, let's roast our coffee in a popcorn maker. Let's grind our own grain for bread making. Let's do sourdough. Like way before the pandemic. We are these kind of strange people. I always say we're probably the direct descendant from the first person who looked at a lobster and says, "Ooh, I wonder what that tastes like." So yeah, this is sort of my weekend so far: kombucha and writing, and trying to clear a bit more. I'm going to. The problem is it's a bit too warm outside at the moment. Otherwise, I would already do more with like loading up the car. What I'm for the event, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just get some of the skeins ready, get some of the like everything near the door so I don't forget it when they go into the car the next time. And then I can start to put some of the not as the not the heavy things in the car and do the rest later. The problem is that I don't have a driveway. I can't get the car really close to me, so it's always a huge faff to carry back and forth. Which is why I'm trying to do it basically every time I'm leaving the house. I'm taking something with me. Yeah, events. I've ordered a new banner because um, on before I always use. So I made a dark blue banner for my stand, and but it says Bolsheva Publishing at the bottom because that's my website. Um, but uh, the cards, the labels for the skeins are actually pink. So pink is the or magenta is the color for the craft side of the business. The dark blue is the publishing. And so I've ordered a magenta banner which has the same tagline on it, basically hand spun, hand dyed, hand knitted. Um, because I think that's the what I need to cry from the rooftops. A friend of mine said you need to make like a massive sign that says exactly that. So this is why I've ordered a banner. I don't think it's coming early enough for the event, which is fine. I'm just going to use the dark blue one for that one. But yeah, that's sort of another marketing expense, but I think what will make sense in the end. And then I've talked to one of the volunteers working in the community shop and have basically made a plan with her when I'm going to bring my yarn into the shop as well. So as you see, sort of books and yarn starting to take like equal measures of time. And I think I'm ready for that again. It just means that there will be different things to talk about. But I think for my type of brain, that's really good that I work best with shorter bursts of activity and then switching to a different field and doing the same instead of working one task all the way through for hours and hours and hours on end. I need to basically intense work, jump, intense work, jump. That's that's much better. Well, so yeah, here we are, the end of the weekend. If you would like to follow my ramblings and adventures, then why not subscribe? Give me a thumbs up. As mentioned, subscribe to my newsletter and you get the first volume of my Slow Moon series for free as an ebook file. So you can just check out if what I write sounds okay to you or is interesting for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.